A Scottish Music Guide. Chapter 1. Scotland is a major hub of music. An article on Scottish music at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/music_of_Scotland. Scotland is internationally known for its traditional music, often known as Scottish folk music. Traditional Scottish music comprises a variety of different styles such as ballads, reels, jigs, and airs. Traditional Scottish music is closely associated with the bagpipes. The bagpipes are considered a Scottish instrument with a history dating back to the 15th century. Other notable Scottish instruments include the tin whistle, the accordion and the fiddle. John Forbes of Aberdeen published the earliest printed collection of music in Scotland, which ultimately became recognised as the first known published collection featuring traditional Scottish songs around 1662. Some modern contemporary Scottish musicians are as follows: Calvin Harris, Paolo Nutini, Amy MacDonald, Lewis Capaldi, Shirley Manson, Lulu, Sheena Easton, Susan Boyle, K.T. Tunstall, Emily Sandé, and Nina Nesbitt. Successful bands originating from Scotland include Travis, Texas, Simple Minds, the Bay City Rollers, the Jesus and Mary Chain, the Fratellis, Las Vegas, and the Cocteau Twins. The country's major music festival, TRNSMT, is held annually in July in Glasgow Green. Other music festivals include Celtic Connections, Eden Festival, Glasgow Summer Sessions, the Sky Live Festival, and the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Scottish music is celebrated through awards such as the Scottish Album of the Year Award, the Scots Trad Music Awards, the Scottish Alternative Music Awards, and the Scottish Music Awards. Folk band Runrig sang mostly in Scottish Gaelic. K.T. Tunstall has incorporated folk music with rock. In the 1960s, there was a folk club culture. Ewan MacColl emerged as a leading figure in the revival in Britain. They hosted traditional performers, including Donald Higgins and the Stewarts of Blairgowrie, alongside Scottish revivalists such as Robin Hall, Jimmy McGregor, the Corries, and the Ian Campbell Folk Group. Donovan and the Incredible String Band developed psychedelic folk. Acoustic groups include the Tannahill Weavers, Ocean, Silly Wizard, the Boys of the Loch, Battlefield Band, the Clutha, and the Whistle Binkies. Celtic rock includes the JSD Band, Spencer's Feet, and Five Hand Reel. In the 1980s, Runrig and Capercaillie were two Scottish pop groups. An Uphill as Aired, The Highest Apple, by Runrig became the first song to be sung in Scottish Gaelic to chart on the UK singles charts, peaking at number 18 on the UK singles charts. From Canada, some Scottish bands are Enter the Haggis, Great Big Sea, The Real Mackenzies and Spirit of the West. Thomas Erskine, 6th Earl of Kelly, is the first Scot known to have produced a symphony. Eric Chisholm founded the Scottish Ballet Society and helped create several ballets. The Edinburgh Festival was founded in 1947 and led to an expansion of classical music in Scotland, leading to the foundation of Scottish opera in 1960. Post-war composers included Ronald Stevenson, Francis George Scott, Edward Maguire, William Sweeney, Ian Hamilton, Thomas Wilson, Thea Musgrave, Judith Weir, James Macmillan, and Helen Grime. During the 1960s, two rock musicians from Scotland became central to the international rock scene, Donovan and Jack Bruce. Donovan had a hit with Sunshine Superman in 1966. Mark Bolan created T-Rex. Jack Bruce co-founded Cream along with Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker in 1966. The Bay City Rollers found fame in both Europe and the United States, selling 120 million records worldwide. By the 1970s, Rod Stewart, the Average White Band, Nazareth, and the sensational Alex Harvey Band began to gain international success. Several members of AC/DC were born in Scotland, including original lead singer Bon Scott and guitarists Malcolm and Angus Young. Scotland produced a number of punk bands like The Exploited, The Reezelos, The Skids, The Fire Engines, and The Scars. In the early 1980s, Scotland produced bands like Cocteau Twins, Orange Juice, The Associates, Simple Minds, Maggie Riley, Annie Lennox, Eurythmics, Hue and Cry, Goodbye Mr. Mackenzie, The Jesus and Mary Chain, Wet Wet Wet, Big Country, The Proclaimers, and Joseph K. The late 1990s and 2000s saw Scottish bands like Franz Ferdinand, Frightened Rabbit, Biffy Clyro, Texas, Travis, KT Tunstall, Amy MacDonald, Paolo Nutini, The View, Idlewild, Shirley Manson of Garbage, Glass Vegas, We Were Promised Jetpacks, The Fratellis, and Twin Atlantic. Scottish extreme metal bands include Man Must Die and Cerebral Bore. Susan Boyle's debut album was the highest-selling album internationally in 2009. Scottish artists through the 2010s and 2020s include Calvin Harris, Susan Boyle, Lewis Capaldi, Nina Nesbitt, The Snuts, Nathan Evans, Gary Cinnamon, and Chvrches. The Scottish Music Awards, Scottish Album of the Year Award, the Scots Trad Music Awards and the BBC Radio Scotland Young Traditional Musician Award each recognise musical talent in Scotland annually. An article on Scottish traditional music at zzzzscotlands-enchantang-kingdom.com/traditional-scottish-music. Scotland's musical heritage comes from a long history of ancient bards all the way to contemporary bands. Scots had ancient lyres and harp-like instruments dating back to the Pictish period. In medieval times, bards weaved stories and preserved history through song. Music was used to tell the stories of their lives. At its core, Scottish music has Celtic roots. The Vikings and Nordics influenced the music, especially up north. The Reformation saw the rise of the Presbyterian Church, which was accompanied by an attempt to suppress secular music and dance because it was viewed as sinful hedonism. The Scots continued to play underground. Somebody created the bagpipe. This wind instrument has a deep, powerful sound that can be happy or sad. The bagpipe's sound became a symbol of Scottish identity, particularly during times of war to rally the troops. There are famous pipers like John McCole and Sumas MacNeil. Some famous Scottish fiddlers are Neil Gow and Jean Redpath. Other Scottish instruments are the clorsach, a small harp, bodhán, a handheld drum, and the accordion. Folk songs tell stories of love, loss, war, and the natural world, reflecting the experiences and emotions of the Scottish people. Some types of Scottish dances are reels, jigs, strathspeys and hornpipes. Pibroch is a form of bagpipe music, characterized by its intricate melodic lines, complex ornamentation, and emotional depth. Ballads tell tales of love, tragedy, or historic events. Airs are instrumental pieces with emotional depth. The Ceilidh is dance music event. Celtic rock fuses traditional Scottish folk music with modern instruments. Bands like Runrig and Capercaillie are a mix of traditional and modern Scottish music. Francis James Child, a Harvard professor, compiled an 8-volume collection of the English and Scottish popular ballads. The Royal National Mod, a major cultural event, showcases a wide range of Gaelic arts, including music, literature, and drama. Celtic Connections is held annually in Glasgow. Some Scottish folk songs. Here are some popular Scottish folk songs. Auld Lang Syne. Robert Burns in 1788. Loch Lomond. A Scottish ballad. The Skye Boat Song. Recounts the escape of Bonnie Prince Charlie after the Jacobite defeat in 1746. Wild Mountain Thyme. Also known as Will You Go, Lassie, this song celebrates the natural beauty of the country. Flower of Scotland. A patriotic anthem of modern Scotland. By Roy Williamson of the folk group The Corries. The Bonnie Banks o' Loch Lomond. Often confused with Loch Lomond, this version of the song specifically highlights the scenic beauty of the loch and the bond between the Scottish Highlands and their people. The Parting Glass. A farewell song that reflects on memories and bidding goodbye to friends and loved ones. The Atholl Highlanders March. Played by bagpipes at ceremonial occasions. Highland Cathedral. Scottish national pride. Often played at major events. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. Story of the 1297 Battle of Stirling Bridge, a key victory in the Wars of Scottish Independence. Scotland, the Brave. Bagpipe Song. Amazing Grace. Bagpipe Song. Some contemporary traditional folk groups at liveabout.com/contemporary-traditional-music-3552970. Battlefield Band. Old Blind Dogs. Blazin' Fiddles. Alasdair Fraser and Natalie Haas. A US-based fiddle and cello duo. Low. Three-piece formed in Edinburgh sporting rural roots. Guitarist Chris Drever is from Orkney, as is the band's name. It's an Arcadian word meaning light. Fiddler Aidan O'Rourke is from Oban, and accordion player Martin Green is from East Anglia, England. Peatbog Fairies. The Isle of Skye. Shuglinifty. Julie Fowleys. From the Hebrides. Capercaillie. Karen Matheson. Find Scottish bands and artists at gigguide.co.uk/banddirectory.htm. A list of Scottish bands. Some Scottish music festivals. The Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. August at Edinburgh Castle as part of the Edinburgh Festivals. Tea in the Park, 1994-2016. During the second weekend of July. TRNSMT, 2017-present. Second weekend of July and is held in Glasgow Green. Aberdeen and NE Scotland Music Festival. Big Burns Supper Festival. Calendar Jazz and Blues Festival. Connect Music Festival. The Darvel Music Festival. Eden Festival. The Glasgow International Jazz Festival. Glasgow Summer Sessions. Let's Rock. The Leith Festival. Sky Live Festival. The Glasgow Bandstand at Kelvin Grove Park. Hosts the annual Summer Nights Festival. Celtic Connections. Glasgow. 18 days in January and February.